A fuel strike could be on the way. The U.S. donates $1.5 million in COVID assistance to Caribbean countries, and PAHO representatives urging that COVID is not over. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tyler Simonet with your Jcn News for this Monday, April 11th. Motorists beware. Fill up your gas tanks as soon as possible, as a strike by fuel providers may be on the horizon. Members of the Bahamas Petroleum Dealers Association are pushing to stop providing fuel to the public as they await the government to intervene in rising fuel costs. We learn as much from the BPDA Vice President Vasco Bastian in an exclusive interview. He says that due to the rising price of crude oil because of the ongoing conflict in Russia and Ukraine, a heavy burden has been placed on fuel providers here in the Bahamas.
The rising costs is now making it more challenging for gas station operators to buy fuel, especially with the margin just being 54 cents per gallon. So you pull up to a gas station and you see right now at Esso it retails for $6.16. At Rubus I think is $6.19, and at Shell is $6.25. Well, the bulk of those funds go to the government. The government gets nearly $2. The cost of goods sold is probably a little around about $3, over $3. Then there's VAT on that. Then there's also a customs duty on it. And there's also the margin for the dealers, and then the margin for the wholesalers.
Mr. Bastian notes to avoid a shutdown, the association is asking the government to reconsider the margin or model that is presently being used in regards to fuel providers. He claims that the model presently being used by the government is outdated by over 15 years.
We propose changing the model from the fixed margin to percentage base, because the only person that really makes money on the gas station when the price of fuel is this high is the government of the day, be that F&M, PLP, whoever. They're the one that makes the bulk of the money, but they're the ones who have no vested interest or put up none of the funds to buy or, in most cases, manage or franchise these gas stations. And so a lot of the dealers are frustrated that they've been in the business 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and there's always been that concern. Another one of the concern is the business license. Business license is paid on gross turnover in gas stations, not on net profit. So if your gross turnover, say, is $1 million and your net profit is, say, $125,000 or $50,000 or $25,000, you don't pay business license on the net profit. You pay business on the gross turnover.
Here's Mr. Bastian with the details on the strike, which he says he is not in favor of.
The members of our association are made up of over 25 to 30 dealers. And we have right now about 80%, I would go as high as 90% of them wanting to strike. And I'm trying to tell them not to. I'm trying to tell them, let's sit down with government, let's put our proposal on the table, and let's see how government can address these concerns that I just mentioned to you in order for us to have a positive outcome for both government and both for the operators.
While Mr. Bastian does not have a fixed date for when he will be able to meet with government officials, he says he is hopeful that when they do meet, they can come to an amicable solution. The United States government has announced plans to provide $1.5 million in urgent COVID-19 assistance through the United States Agency for International Development for countries in the Caribbean, including the Bahamas, Barbados, Guyana, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. This assistance will help countries conduct vaccination campaigns, overcome vaccine hesitancy, and increase vaccination rates. It will also help governments launch engagement activities, train healthcare workers, and combat misinformation. While the rate of new cases in the Bahamas has declined significantly, the global COVID-19 pandemic is not over, and fewer than half of all Bahamians are vaccinated. USAID will direct funding through organizations such as local ministries of health, NGOs, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, the Pan American Health Organization, UNICEF, and USAID's Country Health Information Systems and Data Use Project. This additional assistance builds on the nearly $63 million in COVID-19 funding already provided by USAID to the Caribbean to address the health, humanitarian, and economic impacts of COVID-19. This includes $750,000 in funding to the Bahamas alone. A total of 18 COVID-19 infections were confirmed in the country over the weekend. 6 cases were confirmed on Friday, April 8th, and 12 cases on Saturday, April 9th. 16 of these cases are here in the capital, 5 of them with a history of travel. 1 case was confirmed on Eleuthera and another case with location pending. Total confirmed cases now at 33,358. 112 cases are now active, 8 of them in hospital, all considered moderately ill. Some 210 RT-PCR tests were completed between Friday and Saturday. 2 of them were repeat tests. The death toll remains at 789. 8 people were reported recovered on the weekend. Dr. Eldona Boysen, the Pan American Health Organization and World Health Organization representative for the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, says despite the relatively low COVID numbers in the country and in the region, persons should remain vigilant as this thing is not over. She notes that the novel coronavirus is still constantly mutating and creating new versions of itself and is not yet stable.
COVID numbers are looking really good here in the Bahamas and in many countries in the Caribbean. And so some people understandably are beginning to think that this is done, that the pandemic is over. But it is not, because the virus is still circulating in many countries in the world. And we still have variants that are circulating that have not gotten to some places yet, that are still to come. And we have seen that once there's a variant in one part of the world, it quickly whips around to everywhere. And once we have this continuing transmission or spread of the virus, there is a possibility of a new variant appearing. So all that to say, some people say, why is COVID not just like the flu? Why are we not treating it like that now? The thing is, COVID virus has not stabilized yet. It is still causing outbreaks in places, and it is still changing itself in a great way.
Dr. Boysen urges the public to remain vigilant at the new BA2 variant, though not yet detected, is likely to already be here, and like Omicron, it is highly transmissible. She notes that while it is wise for health officials to explore the easing of restrictions, it is important to have the necessary safeguards in place in the event of a mass spreader event.
BA2 is a variant of Omicron, so you have Omicron BA1, BA2. So far, the different variants of Omicron do not behave any differently. We've seen no evidence of that. So it's transmissible in the same way that Omicron is. It also does not cause a lot of severe illness and death. That is not to say people cannot die of it, people cannot become severely ill, they can. We see a smaller portion. But because it's so transmissible, you can have a lot of people get it, and a small percentage of a big number is still a lot of people, so we still have to be careful.
Dr. Boysen's comments come off the heels of reports of an uptick in COVID-19 numbers over the weekend and increased concerns over a possible next wave. A deadly crash in New Haven, Connecticut has claimed the life of a young Bahamian male student and leaves another Bahamian male in the Bridgeport Hospital with life-threatening injuries. The heartbreaking news of 21-year-old Raymond Roll's death was sent in a message to the University of New Haven community by the Dean of Students, Ophelia Rowe Allen, on Saturday. Roll was a computer engineering major in the university's class of 2022 and an active member of the TEDx Club. He was a passenger in a black Chevrolet Cruze that was being driven by 26-year-old Kenyu Adderley, a recent graduate of UNH's living in Connecticut. According to reports out of New Haven, sometime around 3:34 Saturday morning, the New Haven Fire Department was dispatched to the intersection of Congress Avenue and College Street, where they discovered the vehicle that was significantly damaged as a result of hitting a tree. Fire crews worked to put out the flames and used the jaws of life to remove the passengers. Roll was transported to Yale New Haven Hospital, where he died of his injuries. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in issuing a statement, says it's saddened to learn of the car crash that occurred on Saturday morning, adding that the ministry, through the Bahamas Consulate General in New York, have been and will remain in contact with the families of both victims and stand ready to assist wherever possible. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell sending his condolences to the family of Raymond Roll and says he continues to receive updates on Adderley's condition. He's also requesting that the public keep the families and loved ones of the deceased and hospitalized in their prayers during this difficult and tragic time. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.